You, my brother. But
Yes.
don't we make your lives better?
Yeah, we do.
We are
But
the
leading
sunshine.
is not easy.
I know. When I said, Peter, have you watched that young man? Is he fine? And the manager was shocked that I had noticed. Oh, Pastor Sam,
Yeah.
I have two stories in my house that are going to change the world, and
Amen.
you will hear them.
Amen.
You will hear them.
Amen.
You've done a good. Hello everyone, welcome to my space. Eunice Adubango here. Today I have come in here with a friend and I'm very happy to be hosting you. Many of you have written back to me concerning the most recent productions that we have had. I'm thankful to God for how it is working in your lives. Many of you wrote to me about your dreams. Many of you shared with me that you are interpreting them better. Many of you wrote back to me concerning spiritual mapping, and many of you have written to me about how you are praying and how you're reaching out to your children, and I'm very thankful. The role that I play here and the desire of my heart is that each one of us will grow in our knowledge of God, and each one of us will grow in our understanding of our God, and that we will get into a deeper relationship with Him. That is really the cry of my heart. So when I see that someone is starting to interpret their dreams better, when I see that someone is reading the word better, when I see that someone is engaging with their child better, I become very happy. So today I've come to you together with my friend, Pastor Sam, that is a mentor to my children, has worked with Israel and Ronel, soon to start working with Kel. You need to start working with Kel, Pastor Sam.
Yes, we should.
His wife is also a very good friend, Tina. They have worked with us for almost 9 years almost,
almost
because
close
Israel came to you when he was probably about 8, and now we are, we are making 16 this month of August.
Amazing.
It's amazing, eh?
Yeah.
My God, we have only 2 years for someone to be like certified by the government as an adult, but you and me know that he's already an adult.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've come to you with Pastor Sam Aliku, and he is going to share with us amazing things about mentorship for men. So, Pastor Sam, please introduce yourself to my people.
All right. Well, Eunice, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's always a pleasure. Even just reaching out to you, there's always something I learn. So thank you so much for having me here. Yes, my name's Ps.Samuel Aliku, commonly known as Pastor Sam. Yes, and I'm so passionate about the boy, child, and men. Christine and I have been married this is our 20th year.
Oh, we are trying to chase you, yeah?
And in those 20 years, God has blessed us with 4 disciples. We call them disciples because they are following hard.
Wow.
2 boys and 2 girls. And we have 2 teenagers in the house already. And yes, I wear quite a number of caps on me. And one cap that I wear is that I'm a pastor at a church called Mavuno.
Okay.
And at Mavuno Church we are leading a campus at Chira. We call it Mavuno North Pole.
Okay.
Yes, and then of course we also have a school in Chira, which was birthed out of homeschooling. Christian and I have been.
It has now become a
yes,
school.
It's now a full-fledged school.
Wow.
It's called Chokuma International Christian Schools. Chokuma is wisdom in Hebrew, and so we do that as well. We have a school in Chira, and then of course we run an NGO called Petra Families Foundation, which is really our passion. We reach out to the boy, child, and men. And we have written, by God's grace, we've written 7 curriculums. And of these 7 curriculums are Boys to Men, which your sons have gone through, Man of Honor, Mothers Raising Sons. There's a 5-star dad for fathers. We launched it recently at Sky's Hotel. And then, of course, we have Shepherding a Teenager's Heart for parents with teenagers. Then we have Pursuit of Purity, purely for teenagers, from the age of 13 to young adults, where we give them, we take them through the rite of passage. They get to sign cards to wait to date. And also we give them visas to date. Those who are willing to date, they say, Mommy and Daddy, this is my card that I'm signing with you. I'm ready to date. Wow. So it's also a very interesting experience. Then I think the big one for me is the 3 strands. which is for couples who have thrown in a towel.
Oh, yeah.
They're at a place of divorce. We try to reconcile them through an experience, which we call the third strand, that God is the third strand in that relationship, because there was a spark before
you got married.
You got, yes. And so the irreconcilable difference, we try to take it through for 10 weeks and see. So far we have succeeded with one couple.
That's good.
Yes,
That's
so
good.
that is us really. For now, yes, I'm also a transformational life coach. I speak on various platforms and reach out to men and boys. That's really, and family.
Yeah.
That's our core.
Wow.
That we do, yes.
Wow, I got to meet Pastor Sam through the mentorship of the boy child.
Yes.
In fact, I first met Christine.
Yes.
Because I think somebody told Christine that I am a mother who is passionate about parenting.
Yes.
And she got in touch with me to go and facilitate at one of her, what is that? Mothers Raising Sons.
Yes.
She had a cohort sometime, I think about 6 years ago or so.
Yes.
No, probably 8 years ago. So she called me and she wanted me to facilitate at a session. And then when I interacted with this material, I fell in love with it. And, you know, that is how now I get connected to you. And immediately when I got to see you and the way you are talking, and, you know, I could pick, number one, that you really loved God. Right. And I could also pick that you were passionate about raising boys. Yeah. And at that point, I was looking for mentors for my children. Right. Now, most people wonder, if you are a good parent, why do you need a mentor for your children? Because people usually feel like, I just want to work on myself, keep our family things inside the family. Right. But I realized that as children grow, they start looking out.
Absolutely.
They start looking out. They're like, is there more? Is this all? Yeah. But also you need to recognize that you don't have everything on the inside of you. Right. I can only be Eunice. I can only be an engineer. I can only be a good cook. Yes. I can only be a good writer. Right. But you know Ronell, he's into basketball. He's into planes. In fact, there was a time he was into chess and I didn't even know how they call even one thing on the chessboard. So if I say that I'm going to be self-contained, I'm being selfish and I'm lying to myself. Yeah. So the reason I reached out to Pastor Sam is because I realized that my children needed more, and they needed more wholesome people. And we had prayed about it before we got married, that God would connect us to people who are like-minded. And I am so thankful. Right. But you said something when you were introducing yourself, when you said that your children, that God has given you for disciples and they are following hard. Yes. I wrote that down because I think as parents, we need to realize that our children are following hard. That's true. And they are following hard whether we are saying anything or not. Or not, yeah. I know there are many things we plan to talk about, but I want you to talk about that. The issue of following hard and how parents need to recognize that we are mentoring. And God has entrusted us with these people. You have 8 eyeballs looking at you. You have 4 hearts beating. You have 4 feet. So talk to us about this issue of following hard and why you said it.
Yes, I think it's one thing to realize that we ask for these things. Growing up as little girls, as young men, we aspire to be fathers, to be people of influence. But now when God gives you the influence, it means it comes with responsibility. Yeah. It comes with intentionality. And yes, there's so many things happening out there. People are grappling with, in the rat race, running after money, and the system is raising the children. Yeah. I know of a child who went to to a boarding school in nursery because the parent was so busy. I went to
boarding school at 5 years. Let's move on.
Yeah, so the system is raising your child, but guess what? At retirement, there'll be no connection. Yeah. And your children will be like, well, we don't know you. We know our teachers. We can relate with them. And so it's very important to be very intentional because God has given you a responsibility to mentor other people. And in that mentorship, I mean, the children you have, they watch you. As I work with quite a number of parents, there are people who have said, that is a little me in that child. Yeah. Because they are seeing what you're doing and there are traits that you'll always see in your children. But how can you guide them even as you see them growing. So the mantle is on us. We are the first custodian of the first information they should have.
Yeah.
For instance, a sex talk, you know, values, family values. And that's why every family out there, if you don't have family values, is something you should look into.
Yeah, it's
Because
something
how
we
can
need to
the
even
children
talk about here.
Absolutely.
How to formulate them.
Exactly. Because if you come to my house, I'm now formulating them. It's not off on the wall. But just like any organization, when you enter my house, on the wall, you'll see our family vision, our family mission, our family values, and what we stand for as a family. So those are key things. And as the children grow and they see the things, they're like, yes, this is us. This is us. Can your children stand out and say, as they are Dubangos, we don't do that? Because they have seen you do it, you've drummed it in their ears, and they see the things happening. So it's very important. Just like any CEO of an organization, you'll have subordinates.
Yeah.
And you'll tell them, in this organization, these are our values, this is what we run, this is our vision. And that's what it means when you have a household. It could be that you're a single mom out there, or a single man out there, or you're both of you, but you need to have the ground rules.
Yeah.
That as the children are growing, that's why I say ours, they follow hard, because they know. There are some things they have written on manila paper themselves and pinned in their rooms that delayed obedience is disobedience.
Yeah.
And they know it. And they also know our value. Our youngest, Caleb, he knows what integrity is.
Wow.
It's doing the right thing when no one is watching you.
Is it a Caleb thing?
Yes.
You know, our youngest, Kel, is like the Greek Kael, actually.
Yes.
It's like the Greek version of Caleb.
Yes.
And he also has been really doing this thing about integrity. In fact, on his report card of last term, the teacher wrote that Kel tries to be a man of integrity. He does things that he is told even when the teacher is not watching. Wow. And for me, it spoke a lot that among all the things the teacher wanted to report to me about my son, integrity was one of those things.
Yes.
You know, you talked about following hard, and I remembered two things that I've been thinking about this week.
Yeah.
Kel likes drinking chocolate. I don't. But their father loves drinking chocolate. Yeah. And I think he has been watching Brand. And I think he has decided that the best kind of thing to drink is drinking chocolate. Yes. In fact, he would rather bring a stool and climb up and pick that thing of drinking chocolate, and he'll make his mug. And I was like, wow, Brand has never sat them down.
And you know, and so that's the real thing, that if you don't show them and tell them, Hollywood is going to tell them, the cartoons are going to tell them, and your neighbors who don't have the same values are going to tell them, and they're going to groom them. And so that's why it's very key that even as they're following, it's you passing on these values, passing on these. So it's very important for anyone there. If you're a mentor, you're mentoring them, you're grooming them. So you have to be there, you have to show them.
I actually tell parents that God loves each one of us so much that he gave each one of us a mentor. A mentor, I mean, to start with. And that mentor is your parent. Yes. That mentor is your guardian. That mentor is the teacher. That mentor is the matron. Absolutely. So before you look out there for more mentors, you have a mentor. You have a mentor. Yeah. Wow, Pastor Sam. So where do you draw your inspiration from?
Well, my inspiration comes way back in, I think I was 7 years old. You know, my mom and dad had separated, and so I always share this. It's not a breaking news, but I was molested when I was 7 years by a house help. Oh, and so that meant I'd lost my innocence and so on. And so when growing up, I felt betrayed. I felt if mommy was there, daddy was there. And remember, my mom was a civil servant, very busy woman. So when she came home was, have you done homework? Have you bathed? Go to sleep. And so I missed out that mommy-son intimacy when growing up. So if my mom was a friend, as soon as she came home, she would have told me, Sam, how was your day? which I always ask parents, that when you're with your children, when you're picking them from school or dropping them, at times, because you have you're in a rat race, you're so busy, the best thing to do is ask open-ended questions, not closed questions. Because if you ask closed questions...
Was your day good?
Yes.
Yeah, that's closed-ended.
Yes, but if you asked, how was your
day?
Did you make friends?
Given a whole template.
Yes. So, and then I think, for me, my mom had the closed questions. Yeah.
Did you eat?
Yes. So she missed out on that. And so I grew up, until of late, my wife has told me I'm so paranoid about even house helps coming home. I do HIV testing. I do all the things. Why? Because I have 2 sons, and I'm like, anything can happen. Yes. So, and some of them at times stay for 1 day, and yet I've done the medical checkups, and I'm like, she's like, you're losing a lot of money, but I'm like, no way, it's okay, as long as. So drawing that energy from that, and I want to believe that God never wastes experiences. Whatever we go through, God never wastes experiences. For me, it has been a springboard, and reaching out to the boy child and a man, and I'm like, I need to make a difference in a boy's life, in men's life, because in my scenario, my predicament was, if I can go through this and it's not even noticed, and no one even, like yes.
Nobody even saw you distraught, like nobody looked at your face and said, why are you downcast? Exactly. No one.
And even as I reach out to men of late, I've just been surprised that there's some men who are also in abuse in a marriage. And yes, and some women have been open for homes at 3 a.m. and a man just opens, and and I was like, okay, now God, I don't know what you're showing me. But in my growing up, I knew it was the other way around, that women abused, and so it happens.
But it happens, Pastor Sam. Sorry to cut short. I think we need to use our eyes more, and we need to use all our senses more.
Right.
I have a worker at EK who I noticed was losing weight.
Right.
A man, he was losing weight. He was haggard. His shoulders were drooping. And so one day I called the manager, who is also a man.
Right.
And I said, Peter, have you watched that young man? Is he fine? And the manager was shocked that I had noticed.
Yes.
Because I think for him, he thought I only care about, are you doing my work? And so I said, no, I've noticed that young man, even when his friends make jokes, he's not laughing. Something is wrong. And so I have someone in charge of welfare at the location. I told Peter, I said, have you talked to the welfare person and let the welfare person follow it up. And I was happy to note that when the manager talked to the welfare person said, yes, I also noticed it, and we've talked and we are going through. And I can tell you, Pastor Sam, that 2 months later, the young man is different. He's better. Wow. So I don't know. I didn't get into it. I didn't ask her. So what happened? Because, I wanted the men to talk.
Yes.
But I can imagine these men who are being abused, nobody can see. Yeah. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe in the workplace, that's a big world. But now in the home, you mean, Pastor Sam, nobody actually saw. Because you must have been sad.
Yes.
You must have been sad when this happened.
Yes.
Anyway,
yes.
Carry on.
Yes, of course I was sad. But then it propels me to the heights that I'm reaching out to the boy, child, and man, in the sense that I got to understand the two difference, because growing up, because of the abuse and the feelings I had, I really reached out to. I was happy that God, by God's grace, it inclined to how can people who are in my situation be better. And through that, I was able to ask the hard questions to quite a number of boys and men out there. I would ask boys weird questions. Have you had a wet dream? Are you developing pubic hair?
And that shouldn't be weird.
Yes.
But I know where you're coming from.
Yes. So, and people would wonder, why is he asking all the things? I would meet men and have conversations, and men would cry in the restaurant.
Oh dear.
I would ask, how is your wife? Is she happy? Which man asks another man if his wife is happy? And those are some of the questions.
What do you want with my wife?
And those are the questions I was asking. And little did I know it was really a calling on my life. And given my temperament as well, I'm phlegmatic, melancholic. Well, my wife is called San, so yeah,
you are Brand and she is Eunice.
Yes, exactly.
I get you, my brother. But
yes.
Don't we make your lives better?
Yeah,
but
leading is not easy.
I know.
Because you always see ahead of time.
Yeah.
And for us, we sleep over things. I'll tell you tomorrow, and you're like, it's straightforward. Well, let's do this. Yeah. So because I'm a great listener, which is also my strength, given my temperament and personality, it has caused me to listen more and work more with men. And so because of that, I found myself even writing by God's grace, I've written 21 books. But these 21 books, I've never gone to school to write about, to study masculinity. But it comes from a place of passion and also understanding and also calling and also realizing the difference between purpose and also work. Because by training, I'm a culture tourism consultant. But by calling, I reach out to the boy child and men. And I've been called on platforms that I've never thought of. Last November I was in Texas to speak to men, the Ugandan community there, about masculinity.
Wow.
How did I get there? It's just because there was a calling there's a calling on my life to reach out to the boy child and men. So it comes from a place of it was a predicament which God used at the time, and by God's grace it took me to a place of having this feeling of men can be better.
Sort of like a shared, you can share in their pain.
Exactly.
It's
exactly.
more, it reminds me of the scripture that says what the enemy meant for evil, God has turned
God has turned it for good.
But I want you to share two things. One, I would say both of them, although they are at different tangents.
Yes.
Lest I forget one.
Right.
One is... so in the midst of this abuse and everything, take us through that process. So how do you get out of this to even begin to feel compassion for other people? Because most people sink in there. And I don't want us to just jump off it to the next question, because we could be actually talking to someone now that is going through that, or their child has gone through that. And maybe when they had that, immediately they switched the volume higher thinking, oh, help has come. So if we go to the next question, we might actually lose that person. So what is this process? How did you go through it? But also then how do you get Tina to also fall in love with the boy child? Was it a coincidence? Did she also, did she just come to you with that same purpose? Let's talk about those two things. Like, take us through that process. Just don't make us cry while we are while we are at it.
Right. I think it's for me it was the grace of God, because I've shared this even with Christine and on other forums, because I lost my innocence. I became sexually active in my teenage years, and little did I know, so God was taking me through another journey. And then after university, imagine that kind of life at university. I wasn't born again, and so after university, for me, it was a Damascus encounter with God. Saul
to Paul.
Yes. It was an Acts 9 encounter. And from that time on, I made a true north journey. And from that true north journey is that when I started seeing my life, reflecting on my past, reflecting on the things that God has, how gracious He has been to me. And I can't I'm working with boys who have gone through that. And so my story somehow melts the situation in a way, if I can use that word. And boys are able to hear me out and say, look, I've been there, and this is how I journeyed. And my journey was really meeting God, Christ. Because I think that's why we can only find that's why we can get the solace in Christ, because out there the world will tell you revenge. The world will tell you, you know what, even me, I'm going to do the same to another person.
Yes.
Yes, but when you find Christ, I think for me that's where the peace was, because I looked for the peace, the love from place to place until when I encountered Jesus. And I remember it was after campus. I'm at a place, I've got a job. It was a hotel management job. Of course, I'm getting crates of beer
And
for
you
free.
can meet girls.
And you
It's
can
a
meet
hotel.
girls, and then it took a professor to lead me to Christ.
Oh wow! Your demons needed the whole professor. Jesus.
Yes. So at the hotel there was a professor from Nairobi, Nairobi University. He's a Kenyan. I call him Papa. He had come. He was doing some work with South Sudan, so he was staying at the hotel that I was managing. And he just told me, "Manager, I want to speak to you." And I told him, "I'm so busy." He said, "I'll meet you. You find me downstairs in the restaurant."
Oh.
And when I went and sat, he just shared with me his testimony.
Oh wow!
How God led him to Christ. How he was the worst of the men that you have ever met. And he felt academics was the thing and was his God.
The intellectualism.
And then, yes, and then he encountered God in his 30th year of marriage. That's when he gave his life to Christ.
Wow.
I was like, and he was like, "My son, I've done everything. I don't want you to get there." And so he says, "Do you want to kneel down?" I said, "No, not in the restaurant when my staff are watching."
Yes.
So we went up to his room and he prayed for me. And that's how I gave my life to Christ. And ever since then, the wounds healed. The anxiety I had, the
Because
paranoia.
I was going to ask you, what are those wounds?
Yeah, the wounds are really, how do you describe a wound? It's a place of
maybe the emotions,
the bitterness,
the anger.
Yeah, the anger. And
anxiety.
One thing for sure is, I think I've read a book called The Bait of Satan.
Yes,
and
the one about forgiveness. And,
yes, and offense is one of them. As soon as you get offended, it just builds up to anger, bitterness, and the rest, is unforgiveness and a hardened heart. Yes, a hardened heart. So for me, it has been, my build-up was, I was like, after giving my life to Christ, I want to wish the best for others. And now in that process, I was like, the boys should be at a better place.
Yeah.
The men should be at a better place. People should know that men are also abused. People should know that also boys are abused. And so for me, that was where my driving force was built on. But yes, going through this, there is no other better place than giving your life to Christ. Every time we do the boys' camps, and I share my story like I've just shared, boys come and tell me, even me, it happened, but I've never told mommy. And I always walk with those ones. I tell the parents, I want to meet you, and we have a talk. And most of these are especially teenagers, where house helps are there for them, and house helps need favor from the boss's children, the boys' sons, the boys' and
the boss's sons.
The boss's sons. And this is for the boys who are adventurous, who are in a place of trial. These are low-hanging fruits. So they always go out to the house helps for
and most parents
favors.
Think that the solution is therapy. Let the child just talk to someone. But I like that you have emphasized to us that Jesus is the ultimate answer.
He is the ultimate answer.
I always tell people that it's okay to go to the counselor, but what is inside the counselor? If inside the counselor there is Jesus, because I believe in counseling. I believe in therapy. I work with widows, and I usually tell people, when someone loses a loved one, I say, in the church, that's an area that we gloss over. But I counsel widows, and I even connect them to other widows to work with them. So I believe there is a place for that. But what is inside this counselor? What is the counselor going to pass on? Are they going to pass on a theory? Are they going to pass on someone's experience somewhere? Are they going to make up? Because even in the counseling books, they will make up feel-good stories. But Jesus is not a feel-good story.
No, it's not. I need to share this, that Eunice, we do the boys' camps. And many of the boys that have brought, some of them have been sodomized. Some of them have been, they're big-headed at home. They don't want to do anything. The parents come and say, Pastor, even if it means smacking him, please feel free at the camps. At least I want him to come after this 1 week and he has changed. But for us at our Boys to Men boot camps, we go for the heart.
Yeah, we need to shepherd the heart. I tell parents that
so
all
we
the
go
time.
for the heart, and we if you look at our scenarios, the teaching scenarios we use and all that kind of thing, we always go for the heart of the boy. And we're like, if you get the heart in the right place, then the rest of the things fall in place.
Because Proverbs tells us out of the heart flows the issues of life.
Absolutely. I met Uncle Laban who looked at his daughter with
but Uncle
weak
Laban
eyes.
treated Jacob badly.
He said, my daughter will not stay on this compound with this kind of weak eyes. Which man will come and take?
Which man is going to come for him?
Yes, I think the Baganda call it Endali, though the eyes were, it's like, no way, and trapped Jacob.
You mean he worked 7 long years for that kind? Oh, God.
Yeah, but he encounters God, and he wrestles with God, and God changes him. And that transition from Jacob the supplanter to Israel. We see a nation even out of him.
I know.
But it comes from a place of a change of heart, that hardened heart of, I'll ask anybody for birthright. I'll do, and I'll steal anything, even if for soup, as long as I take something out of them.
I am doing me.
Yes.
So I look out for myself.
The heart issue is if you get any young child, and you know the hearts of children, they're teachable, very teachable.
They're easy to mold.
So if you can align those hearts to God, then the rest of the things become history.
And that's why we need to reach them early.
Yes.
We need to get them into these mentorship spaces early. I struggle with children. They bring to me when they are 13, 14, 15.
Right.
I struggle that the more the years, the more the struggle. The less the years, the less the struggle. Because when they bring them to me at 7, at 8, you know, the heart is soft. It's pliable. So I find I get results quicker with those. Of course, God is amazing.
Yes.
He can break the heart of an adult. He can break the heart of a 15-year-old.
Yeah, the Bible says the heart of man is in his hands. It turns it to a river.
Like a water course. The king's heart is in the hand of the king, and so that. But tell us how you meet Christine and how Christine gets aligned with this vision. We don't want to lose that.
Yes. So, by the way, you're doing a good job. The camp we just had 2 weeks ago, we had a young man, he's 13 years, and I asked them, who else mentors you apart from me? And one of them raised his hand and said, Dr. Eunice Adubango is my mentor.
Oh.
I was like, okay. So that was so
I think
sweet.
I know that young man. I know that young man because I know he was coming for the camp.
Yeah, so I was so happy to know that you're mentoring young men out there. So well done.
Thank you.
Yes, so I met Christine in a small town called Mbale. And then I went to do my master's in London at Greenwich University. And then Christine came a year later, and then we got married in London. And then, ever since that, we've never looked back. But what helped us was as well the pastors that were working with us. They were quite, I think before shooting, we were having a conversation on how you worked with some couples before marriage. I think that was our story as well. And so we after marriage, it took us 3 years. I know people were praying for us for children, but we had decided for 3 years, let's get to know each other more. Let us get
how did you manage? Did people bind demons? So how did you manage that? I mean, for us, we just wanted to wait for 1 year before conceiving. Even my grandmother was about to call priests. So how did you manage 3 years? Didn't they bind demons?
Yes.
What? Did the pastor push you to catch fire?
Yes, we were so determined. Remember, when a foreign land, I was finishing my master's. Christine was also she had enrolled for pharmacy. So we're students at the same time, married. And so we say to ourselves, let's get to know each other better. And so every event that happened in London, we were there. TDJX has come.
You're there.
Yes. any musician. Kirk Franklin were there. So that was us
You
knowing each
created
other.
beautiful memories.
Yes. For 3 years, no children,
Wow.
getting to know each other. But in those 3 years, we agreed that we were going to be a family on a mission. That wherever God calls us, we shall go together. And so we agreed on some ground things that really we needed to. We agreed on money, that every money that comes is our money. It's not Christine's money, not my money, it's our money. And so we had things that we agreed on from the onset of our marriage. So that helped us a lot in this growth of understanding each other. So when we relocated to Uganda, Christine relocated before me, but when I came in, that's how we got into, by the way, we got into a small challenge because there was a gap. If you look at our children, we have two sets. Yes. We have the teenagers and then we have
the young ones.
So there was a gap of 3 years in between because I stayed there for 10 years. Christine lived in UK for 7 years. So she relocated before me. And so we have the children of the law. Our first two, those ones we learned parenting on them, pinching and whatever, slippers. Then the children of the grace, they are the last two, Caleb and Ella. So because those ones we had learned how to parent. So we agreed that, you know what, we ought to do. So I was just saying that when I came back, we had a hiccup in our marriage. And the woman who could complete my sentences before 3 years, she couldn't do that anymore. So
one day when we come on set, we'll talk about this long distance relationship.
Yes. So somebody introduced Ndoa to us, a 10 weeks marriage experience in Mavuno.
At Mavuno, yes.
And so we did that program, and it ignited our relationship again.
Wow, people who had spent 3 years getting to know each other, spent another 7 years together, just because there is another 3-year gap, couldn't connect. You know, we underestimate these things.
Yes, so, and remember it was 10 years in marriage.
Yes.
And we couldn't connect at all. And so
because you're having different experiences.
Exactly.
This person is driving against borders. For you, you're on a nice freeway. How are you going to understand our problems?
Absolutely.
You want to rent anywhere. For her, she's thinking about the dust and the dusty roads because she's thinking about how much she's going to clean. For you, you have a UK mentality.
So that brought us together for the first time again in 3 years, and we agreed on ministry to do life together again in ministry, to raise our children with intentionality, and that's how we started homeschooling our children. And so from that time on, we found ourselves doing so many things in common together. Christine is a pharmacist. I'm a cultural tourism consultant, but we all reach out to the boy child in the sense that, we decided we're a family on a mission. And when we joined Mavuno, it's a church planting movement. So we went to Nairobi, planted churches. We went to Ethiopia, planted Mavuno Addis. And then we were now away to Accra in Ghana. And Christian was like, no, let's go home, raise our children. During the emptiness, we can do that. And so we agreed on the things. And by the time I started reaching out to the boy child, Christian was not on board. But along the way, she realized she's a helper.
A
suitable helper. And so she came on board fully. And but also I was also a man under authority. I was which I ask any young girl there, if you have a man who says, I want to marry you, the first thing is he under authority?
We are going to we'll get to that next week.
So
it was my own man.
Yes, you must be under man authority. Otherwise, he'll beat you up at 3 a.m. and you'll have no one to call to. So as a man under authority, these pastors held me responsible. We walked that journey. And so Christine fell in easily with the things I was doing. So she came in because now, like mothers raising sons, we wrote the book together. And then, of course, when I go for the men's graduations and other programs, she has really been there. But she came in as a suitable helper, just knowing that this man has a calling in this area and I just have to support him.
But I also think it probably wasn't just her thinking she has to support you. She was able to pick your heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
She was able to pick your heartbeat. And that is something I tell women who say, for me, the things he wants to do, I don't like them. I think you just need to give this time as you pray and work with the person.
Right.
You will pick their heartbeat. You might not pick the real exact thing, but somewhere around it, like Brand has not picked cooking, but he's a good administrator.
Right.
And so working with me, then he realized that I need help there.
Right.
He was able to see the gap. So you find that in Eunice's kitchen, he's the one who helps me with the admin components. So I have even normalized going to him for some administrative help, because then I realized that. And then
I know you're both engineers. Do you also go on site when yes? Do you go on site when he has a site and you?
I go, but not as much anymore, because so the part of engineering I like is management, people management. You know, I'm a people person.
Yes.
So I like people management, and I am the one who speaks better Luganda between Brandon. So I realized that when I would go on site, he's giving the real serious, deep engineering thing, but he's giving it in broken Luganda.
Right.
So he's saying things like "guteke wano." Me, I'm like "chiteke wano," you know. And so I realized that I make him uncomfortable, but I also sort of mess with his authority on site, because I am thinking, you know, he's banging all these rockets, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. Up to now, I struggle when he's giving instructions to our house help, because we have a boy that we've been with for the last over 12 years. I think the boy knows, like, he knows what Brand is saying, but sometimes it's ridiculous. Like, why do you say "gu" when it's "chi"? Why do you say "d" when it's "t"? Like, what's your problem? But of course, I realized it's also a rule thing.
Yeah.
Some of the things in our rule, like, I think he's usually directly translating, and it doesn't work. So yeah, once in a while I go. I used to go a lot. We used to do a lot of engineering work together. But I love people, and Brand loves design. He's actually very good at structural design. So, and he likes to bring it to life. So I said, let me honor this man by leaving his space. But yeah, I enjoy listening to these conversations, because if Christine picked your heart, and she owns it, and she knows when to do what to do. But anyway, share with us some stories of hope. What are the things that have happened with boys that have sustained you? Tell us some stories.
Wow, I think there are so many. There's so many. I think for me, there are boys who have been expelled from school, and then parents have written off. There's one, the parent called me and said, come and take him. If you want to have him at your home, it's okay, but take him. I don't want anything. Yes, I don't want anything to do with him. Oh my God. So I called him, and he shadowed me for a day. The following day, we had a conversation again with the mom. She's like, if he promises to change, that's when he can come home. And I remember me telling him, go home, have dinner, sleep, very early in the morning, come back. Yes, so don't interact with anyone at home, just come. And so he did that for a week, and we were just talking. And for me, it was just getting to his heart. And he transformed, he changed, completely different. And I think for me, the other one was, we're still in this journey, but was a 6.5-year-old who was exposed to sodomy videos.
6.5.
6.5.
Parents,
Yes.
6.5.
Yes, 6.5 years. He was introduced to sodomy videos by a neighbor, boys who are slightly older than him. And he had watched 2 videos, and also he was practicing it on now the neighbors moved out. So the other neighbors came in,
and he started.
And the boys were older than him. One was 8 years. And so the boys reported him to their mom, and then their mom had a meeting with the parents. Then the parents called me, and when they came, I told the dad to resign, and the mom. I told if the mom can keep her job because they were all busy parents. The mom is a banker, the dad is an engineer, and he had about 4 sites. So he left early in the morning, and some of the sites were up country. And then, so the boys, they have 3 boys. So the 3 boys are left alone at home, and this was the youngest. And the house help took them to school, the nearest school, and brought them. So I told him, either you're going to subcontract, but this is the task I'm giving you. And he was hesitant. Then I told him, then you're raising the boy that you don't want. And I don't want to say the name, but I told him the name. You're the kind of person you're raising. And so he said, but Pastor, you're talking badly. I told him, I'm not talking badly. This is the reality. And you're going to miss out. Later in retirement, you'll want him, but he'll be different. And he would have moved on. So he called me after a week and said, I've now succumbed to your calls that you see. I've given out most of the things. So I told him, this is now the journey. We're going to start dating your son. Every day, take him to school, come back with him, and let us hear the stories. A week later, but he kept on saying, for me, I am gay.
The boy. The 6 and a half boy.
Yes. Right now he's 8 years. But he kept on saying, me, I'm gay. And the dad was disturbed. He was like, Pastor, we have had these meetings, we've done this, but he's not changing. I'm going to take him to his grandfather, who is a traditional man, and he will learn. I told him, no, that is your mantle. You need to do this yourself. And so we have walked this journey with the boy. He's now 8 years, and he now says he's a man. He's a man.
Oh, Jesus, glory to your name.
Yes,
My
so it's been a journey. But also having the father sit down and listen. It
changed the father.
Yes, but it changed the father a lot. And for me, I had a one-on-one with him. In a restaurant, he was crying. He was saying, it has never happened in our culture, in our clan. How can this little boy? So we held hands and prayed.
Wow.
Yeah, but also he also needed God.
Yeah, Jesus is the answer. He's the appeal.
Yes, he also needed God. And he was running after money, but yet in his own household, So, but also he was humble to listen to the parents of the other of the neighbors.
Yes.
And also he called my good friend, Pastor Semper, and Pastor Semper called me, and then I picked it on from there and started working with. Said, you have a boys' camp coming? I said no. But there's this issue which is at hand. It's very disturbing. Please help this parent. And when I started working with the family, it was amazing. So right now he's 8 years and he's
a man.
He's a man. So for me, December he's coming to the camp for the Boys to Men boot camp. So I'm
where
so happy.
My children, you know our curriculum, but where my children are supposed to be mentors and they should be coming for the camp as mentors. Wow. But you know, I got them out of school one time.
Yes,
I was like, nah, certain things must be done.
No, your level of mentorship is to another level.
Yeah, because let me tell you, like we were talking back door before we started, there is going to be a time when we can't have them.
Yes.
You know, right now, my pressure, Pastor Sam, there are many things I set out that I need to teach the boys. We need to teach the boys. And, so I look at all of them and I look at Israel. In 2 years, he'll be off to college. Wow. And I keep saying, okay, I have another 365 times 2. Will we be able to cover all these things? So for me, it's serious.
Yeah,
I realize,
it's serious. Because this is the time we have.
Yeah, this is the time we have. If every time, they are going for coaching, they are going for this, when will the time? The time might come when things are so bad, and I may not get the results that I need. Those 2 stories are so beautiful. One of the things you've blessed me with that I want to share before we now talk about the content and start to wrap up. Stories of hope. I didn't bring my children into mentorship because they needed, like the way people say need, as not struggling and whatever. But, because when we got married, we decided that children need mentors. Of course, because of the impact of mentorship Brand had. Brand was part of Christian Men's Network, EDCO. And so from that, he used to share with me. And so we decided, we even prayed over it on our honeymoon. And even when we came back, we were very intentional about it. But one of the things, Pastor Sam, I will never forget about my boys is the week when I used to bring them to you.
Right.
You remember that time?
I remember.
And the videos you made when they were talking about their life and what they are going to do at every stage of their life.
Right.
You know, I still have those videos.
Wow.
And I am producing to give the videos to them when they are older.
Yeah.
I will never forget that, because what they did at that time was to do a roadmap for their life.
Wow.
And so I will tell you that this holiday, one of the things we've been doing is we've been reading the book, The Psychology of Money, together with them. And we have been discussing chapter by chapter, and we have been talking about what they are going to do. And it's amazing, Pastor Sam. Like my 13-year-old, in the midst of that discussion, one day he said, Mommy, where are my savings right now? I said, I told him that the savings scheme where they are. And he said, I think I need a unit trust account.
Wow.
And I asked him why. And he started to tell me back things about interest rates, about inflation, you know, the things we were learning.
Wow.
And then I told him, I said, yeah, and that ties in, you know, if this money compounds like this, it ties in with those things that you said when you were with Pastor Sam. So everything we learn, we look at the roadmap. We say, this is what you said. Because do you remember those things? Like, I will send them back to you. He said, and when I'm a man, when I'm this age, I will have children and I will be this. And when I'm at this age, I will be a father. And when I'm... Oh, Pastor Sam, I have 2 stories in my house that are going to change the world, and you will hear them. Amen. You will hear them. Amen. You've done a good job. I tell parents, I've sent you many parents, by the way. Yes. I have even sent you one time, I sent you, I think, a high school child who also had issues with sodomy and whatever. I send you parents because I believe in what you're doing. I believe in reaching the heart. He said, and when I'm a man, when I'm this age, I will have children and I will be this. And when I'm at this age, I will be a father. And when I'm... Oh, Pastor Sam, I have 2 stories in my house that are going to change the world, and you will hear them. Amen. You will hear. Strand of 3. Yes. You have told us what is in here, but I want you to just take us through these different books, and you will end with the 5-star dad. So let me put it down, because this is the hottest one. I want us to, but take us through the content briefly. What do you do in the mentorship? Okay, in the mentorship, really, you know, mentorship is very, very key to the heart of God. It's the reason when Elijah sees Elisha, he's like, you know what? Elijah kept on telling him, you stay here, I'm going to, he says, as the Lord lives, I'm with you. I'm going to go I'm going with you. I have to see you. I have to see you go to the Lord. And his people could tell him that, you know that your master is going there. The guy was following so hard. When Joseph, the father of Jesus, he was a carpenter, but he mentored Jesus. He took him through the Torah. And even when he was... That's why at 12 years, Jesus was reasoning the scriptures. Exactly. Because that's what happens in Israel. So Joseph did a good job. So mentorship is very, very important. And because when somebody does something wrong, later like our children, you can tell them, I told you. But if you've not told them, that's where now the situation comes. And also, we see Jesus being baptized by John the Baptist. And he says, don't baptize me. But John the Baptist says, I can't baptize. Jesus says, baptize me. Because you've come to prepare the way for me. And Jesus baptizes, John the Baptist baptizes Jesus. So it's a journey. There's a mentorship there. And so for us, we're really now looking at really the remedy. Because some of the things now, like for instance, the strand of 3, it's couples who are saying, we have irreconcilable differences. We can't handle this. So we get to a place of saying, look, can we ignite this again? And so we don't mind that it has 2 retreats, but we don't mind you staying in 2 separate rooms. As long as we meet in the morning and we're having this conversation about... So we are not forcing people. Yes. How can we get together? Because on your wedding day, you invited people. And we were there as witnesses. And you know, this institution called marriage, they give you a certificate on day 1. And unlike when you go to Makerere, they'll give you after 4 years, 3 years. In the institution of marriage, day 1, and then you show us the certificate. Yes, you smile. I'm going to defend this certificate for the rest of my life, you know. So this is why we do
the strand of three, saying, let us try to talk about it. Before you sign the divorce papers, can we talk about this issue?
I think what you're doing there, before you even talk about this, is what God says in the book of Jeremiah.
Right.
Come now, let's
That's
reason together.
Right.
Although your sins are like scarlet, although we have irreconcilable differences,
yes.
let us talk through this.
Yes.
You see, let's reason,
Yes.
says the Lord.
Yes.
And then you shall be as white as snow. And then you will be able to get back together. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that scripture applied there. Jesus.
Yes,
How
and
about,
also, we look so much at Ecclesiastes 4, which talks of the strand of three is not easily broken.
Yes.
Because if God is the third strand in this relationship, then we should be able to reconcile and put things together. So we've succeeded with one couple.
And that, I mean, Jesus said he can leave the 99 and go for the one.
Yes.
So it's that one.
Yes.
And that one will impact their children, who will impact other children.
Yeah.
In that one couple is a representative. I mean, look at the kind of people that I mentor and the people that I reach out to because my marriage is good. So look at how many people would fall because Brad and I have failed.
Yeah.
So we can't look at that. Is one in terms of what's on paper, but that could be thousands upon thousands
so
of people.
we're requesting them to be our champions for the experience, so that they reach out to other couples who have, because they have the moral authority.
They can speak about
the things. Yeah. And then of course we have the man of honor. Yeah, and we said the man should be the catalyst man. And so this one is for men. And I have so many stories about men. Yeah, some who are at a place of also divorce. Some men who are at a place of, I don't think I'm man enough. I don't think I can do this. And because they've done the program, they are back to their homes and they're like, the women are saying, what did you do? What did you do?
Like, give us that pin and we take it and
so, and the women have been the greatest advocates for this because of the experiences that they've got.
What age groups do we deal with?
Yeah, this one we look at 18 years and above.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the oldest we have had was 75 years. Yes, he was 75. And he did it with his son.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he did it with his son who was 30 years. And they hugged for the first time.
Oh, I actually have been to one of your graduations and I have seen how men just being hugged by a father. Yeah. You actually usually bring other men, older men, to father these men. Yes. And how, getting a hug from a father does it for... some of us, some of these things, we don't care about them, but they are so big for people. Yes. I usually tell people that for me, I wouldn't come back to church because somebody hugged me at the door. But I have become humble. Yeah. I realize that maybe for some people, the hug is a big deal. So please, churches, keep on hugging the people. People keep on giving them soda.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
So this is for the men, and it's an amazing experience.
Which one is it that I looked at? Mothers Raising Sons, and there is another one you gave me, and I looked through. Even this one, the 5-star dad. Yes. Yes. Guys, I looked at it and I wrote a forward. You all, I know that I. By the way, I can't bring someone on my platform that I don't know. Yeah. That's why if you look at the platform, I would rather bring myself because I know me. I am very careful. Yes.
Yeah, so this is the one that you wrote a forward to. Yes, it's Mothers Raising Sons. And the mantra to this, we say that you're raising somebody's husband and somebody's father. Raise him well. Yeah. So we reach out to the boy child through the mother because now the mother, there are some things that... they have to tell the boys. Just like Lemuel was told in Proverbs 31 from 1 to 9. Yes. Yeah, the mom had some utterances that he had to be a better man, of course, protect himself. So the mothers, we reach out to the boys through
and finally, the 5-star dad.
Yes, the 5-star dad is this is the latest we have written. Of course, there are still 3 more which are not here. But this one is, we are saying that the mantra is that a dad or a father is a son's first hero and a daughter's first love. Oh. Yes, so, and we are talking about rebuilding foundations because we know that a lot has happened where fathers have not been in that space of fathering. And so we have people who have offered to translate this book in Luganda and Swahili.
Wow.
And we're going to be reaching out to fathers in Kamocha, Naguru, and yes, and the other suburbs around.
Wow.
And so
we need to change one father at a time.
A father at a time. And so far, this book, we have the first cohort going through the book. And yeah, so we are so excited about this. And yes, we're waiting to hear the stories.
I can't wait.
Yes.
You know, my sons, they couldn't go through mothers raising sons because they are not mothers. But you know that we are full-time customers. How much do these books cost, Pastor Sam?
These books are sold as an experience, which comes at 500,000.
Okay.
Yes.
So we don't sell
the 10 weeks.
just the book.
Yes.
We sell the experience. So you have to go through the experience of a 5-star dad in the book.
Yes. But we'll be happy if there can be a group or two of people there that would really want to go through the experience. We can be happy to maybe do a TOT, training of trainers. If each of this book has a facilitator's guide and also a standard operation procedure, which is prepares you for 1 month, 2 months before the experience, and then a facilitator's guide. So it's usually a group of 5, 6 to 8 fathers. Yes, so that they share. You read the material, then you come and share the following. Let's say it's a Saturday, Monday to Friday you're reading, then Saturday you meet as a group and you share, and then you have your takeouts. Then we have a retreat, a mid-season retreat, where fathers date. The task here is the fathers have to date their sons and daughters.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, it's one of those things. You have to give a weekly report how you're dating them, especially if they're teenagers, however little they are, you need to date them and walk the journey with them. And then at the end of the retreat, we have we ask you to bring at least a son and a daughter for just to witness the graduation. And yeah, we give you, of course, there's a creed, a father's creed that fathers go, and then also there's a certificate that is given, and then of course a mantle of fatherhood. And we challenge you to father the community. It's not about your children and the household, but how can you help even the single mothers around you without taking advantage of them, but being able to make sure that their children have father figures. And also we have also succeeded in reaching out to some passive fathers who are absent, and we have talked to them in a very nice way,
and they've
returned home. But also those who are not able to mentor their children because they are on the road all the time, especially the men in uniform. We have so many of those who are always deployed in Arua. They're deployed, yet the family is here, and so he's passive. And yet we have men who can mentor those. So we've been able to talk to such men and say, they're like, wow, it's okay. As long as my son is in the right hands. Yes. And my daughters, which is a very, very also important thing, because these children need the male figure who's going to speak into their lives. Yeah, so we are on that journey as well.
Wow. This is so rich, and I want to bring it to a close, but people, one of the best things that have happened to my life is investing in me.
Right.
500,000 shillings, it's really a drop in the bucket when you see
that could be a lunch for at CJ's with a family
with a family of 3, 4, you know. And so you can just miss 2 lunches and do this.
Right.
We are going to have some discounts that I'm going to be able to communicate with us here on the show. For the next, when is the next training going to happen?
The next trainings are going to be happening from next month.
Next month. So for those of you who have followed me hard, some of you watch, you send comments, you share this link, I know some of you. I really, really know. I don't want to give to the random people, but also you can share your story with us. They can share the stories with us. Some of them, they are single mothers, they would need this. Some of them are fathers like those, men in uniform, or men who are in construction, they are deployed and they cannot be there. I mean, share your stories with us. My email address is running on the screen. Share your stories with us. I'm going to come back with Pastor Sam next week, but I'm going to come back with him another time and with Christine. And so we are going to continue doing this together. So share with me your story. Share with me the story of your children. I mean, even this ministry of My Space, we can work together with them to see if we can sponsor some children to be able to come for the camp at the end of the year, because this is our work. It is our job. It's something that we are going to do. But please reach out to me for more information. Get your children into this mentorship. My children are in this mentorship. And I have seen, by the way, someone told me last week, Hope, I want to send out shouts out to you. She told me, Eunice, why don't you help Pastor Sam? His programs really helped my brother, but few people are going for their programs. Please help him. And then I said, well, I'm hosting Pastor Sam on my platform soon. I'm sure she's going to be very happy with this.
Wow.
Even one of my husband's cousins,
right,
he also came for the man of honor.
Man of honor, yes.
And I also saw a big change in him.
Right.
Children of God, we don't have to change by beating, by making them run over stones, by cutting their feet. There is a place for that, but that is not where the real change happens. Those things will be on the surface. The real change is in the heart. Yes. So until next time, I want you to also check out my friends at 6yr-old. Their bio is going across the screen. Please get through to them. They are the ones who do my pictures. They are the ones who do my videos. A beautiful calm environment. I think you've enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed it.
They are good people, so beautiful. So please reach out to them when you have an introduction. In the next episode, we are going to talk about the qualities in a man of honor. It is going to help you, the single men, but it is also going to help you, the single ladies. The singles asked me for an episode. So, because we are going to talk to you and you are about to get into those weddings and introductions, please holler the people at 6yr-old and let's get going with this. Until next time, Eunice Adubango in My Space together with Pastor Sam. Let's say bye to the people.
Thank you. Bye.